Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kaleidoscope of the Arts. I'm Marie LaBrosse,
And I'm Dee Gozion.
and we're your show hosts today in not so sunny Florida. It's actually raining out today, and we're filming this on Saturday, but this will be airing on the radio. And if you want to watch it virtually, where you can see our beautiful faces, tune in to WKDW 97.5 on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or Northport Art Center, or my own personal pages out there. If you're a friend, you'll know how to get there. If you're not a friend, well, why aren't you? Right?
Good one.
Dee,
Yeah.
how's it going for the Northport Art Center? What do you guys have going on?
Oh my gosh, Marie, I'm glad you asked that because this is going to be a fun week. We have this coming Thursday. Two events we're going to be at, two big events actually. One will be the grand opening of the Northport Gallery. It is a independent assisted and memory care facility that is up by the City Hall. We have our artist Laura Pommier will be doing a live demonstration of a painting. We have paintings also hanging up in their hallways, and there's surprise will be that when Laura's done with this painting, it will be auctioned, or no, I think it'll be raffled or a door prize kind of thing to one of the guests. So everybody's invited to the community to come and see this beautiful facility. It's called the Gallery because they have art and beautiful things all over outside. They have all kinds of sculptures. The sculptor will be there to meet him, and there's also the inside is just phenomenal. It's just beautiful. So that's one event that starts at 4 o'clock till 7.
And that is located by City Hall, right on the Price and Sumter, on the corner, right in that area there, just for anybody, and that's in Northport.
Excellent. And then we also at 6 o'clock that same day we will be at Welland Park having a artist reception for the three artists that are hanging now in Welland Park. It's Kathy Wilkie, it's Sharon Ng, and Kara Giardo. And
Are they hanging there? What do you mean?
their art is hanging there.
Hello. We gotta be clear. Yeah. They're hanging there on the wall.
So we'll be having a reception with some light beverages and some hors d'oeuvres. And please come and meet the artists there. That'll be really fun. Then the very next day, Cheryl Unwin is having an art class workshop at Welland Park Welcome Center. They'll be doing a scratch board together, which is really fun. And if you're interested in going to that, go on the Welland Park website right now because the signups are going on and Monday's the cutoff. We also, on the 14th, Michelle and I are judges at the Northport's Got Talent. It's at 6 p.m. at the Northport Performing Arts Center. It's only $5 to go, and there's 30 acts. So I can't wait to do this. This is the first year that they've done something like this. So we're really looking forward to having some fun on Saturday night. And Saturday in the daytime, if you're new here to Northport, we have Northport Newcomers Day at the George Mullins Center right beside City Hall, and that starts at 10 o'clock to 12, and all kind of different businesses and nonprofits are available, have tables. Come and meet all your new neighbors now that you've moved to Northport. And then on the 15th,
wait. You don't have to be new. There's a lot of people that don't know what is offered in your community, so
absolutely.
you don't have to be new. And a lot of people come for tchotchkes,
oh yes, the gift bags. Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like a buffet of little things going into
yes.
So,
and the Saturday table does usually have a raffle too. That's
right.
fun. The last thing I wanted to say is on the 15th, there is an event at the Heron Creek Golf and Country Club in the dining room. It is, and I wanted to say thank you to all of them, the Kiwanis 50-year anniversary. And we will be attending that. I'm part of the Kiwanis, but they do a lot of great things for our community. So if you know a Kiwanis or you'd like to join, please let Elaine Emmerich know. She's the president of the Kiwanis. So
They do an amazing job for within the community. They really do.
absolutely.
And if there's an event going on, you always see the Kiwanis being part of it. So
And
that
they are.
they are such givers back to the community. Okay, you done?
I'm done. That's just 1 week.
And how do you take classes where at the Northport Art Center?
Hey, go on our website. It's northportartcenter.org, and there's a list of classes. We will be transitioning at the end of this month to our summer classes, and that is posted too. Also, when you're on there, please sign up for our newsletter. You'll get all kind of new information. We just sent one out this morning. All kind of new information, what's going on here. Thank you, Mary.
And before we go on with the program and bringing on our guest, we would be remiss if we didn't mention Wendy Namack, that sponsors our radio show. Not only our show, but she sponsors at the Art Center a lot. She's a giver backer, and she does for the radio station too. And she owns Namack Portfolio Investment Professionals LLC. You can find her website at namac.com, and her phone number is 429-2911. Again, 941-429-2911. Hope I got that right there. And thank you, Wendy, for everything that you do within the community and for people out there. Now, on with the show. This is it.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to having Jennifer here.
Well, let's go ahead and do the introduction on Jennifer. And Jennifer Loftus, tell me a little bit, Dee Dee, how you met her.
Oh, I actually just met her once. I met her at her ribbon cutting at the chamber at the beginning of last week. Yeah, today's Saturday. So it would have been this week. It would have been Tuesday, I believe. Anyway, I had heard about her before. I guess it was through the chamber also, and music moves the soul. And actually, just the title of it moved me. So I did look her up and read a little bit about her. So I was anxious to get there and meet her. And it was a fun experience, which I guess we can talk about whenever she's on.
Well, and I'll give a little background before bringing her up, and we'll then go into her background. But she's been teaching for over 30 years. She graduated with a bachelor's and a master's degree in music education with emphasis in voice from Michigan State University. And she's taught music, drama, dance in the public schools and community colleges in Michigan and Illinois. And she moved to Maui in 2011. And she spent 16 years before going there in Chicago as a professional actor, singer, and vocal coach. After living for 10 years in Maui, she moved to Florida in November of 2021 at the end of what they consider the end of the pandemic. And she now lives in Northport, and she's doing her work right here. And she's a member of the Actors Equity Association, and she's performed in over 100 professional theatrical productions in both summer stock and regional theater throughout the country. Now, when I saw that, all of this, and before we were bringing her up on stage, and this is our stage, to become an equity actor, that takes a lot. You have to have a lot that you've done in either stage or film or that to do that, and we can discuss that. But that is one of the ways that somebody's really legitimate and that has done this, because they don't take anybody. You have to actually prove that you've done all this stuff. So, with that being said, let us bring to our stage Jennifer Loftus. Hi, Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer.
Oh, good morning.
It's wonderful to have you.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
And Jennifer, as no, what? And before we go into your life, what took you from Hawaii to Northport?
That's a great question, and I'm not completely sure of the answer, except that I can tell you it was divine calling. I literally got the divine call in October, and I moved in November.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting? And what made you? What do you have relatives around here? Do you have friends?
I have a couple of friends actually that I stayed with when I first got here before I bought my home, and but I had never visited Northport, and pretty much just called them one day and said, "Do you think I could do my work here?" And they were like, "Oh, absolutely!" And then I started the ball rolling.
Wow. So let's go back to where you started because a lot of people do want to know what makes Jennifer Loftus, and am I saying your last name?
Loftus.
Loftus.
Mhm.
Actually, when I saw your last name, I live in Charlotte County, and one of the people here that was in the political arena and with the county, his last name is Loftus. So I just go, I wonder if there's a relationship there. So,
No.
so no, not at all. Okay, so you first started out. Now, were you born in Michigan? Where were you born?
Yes, Michigan, and I lived there until 1994. And I taught music there and in the public schools, K through 5, after getting my degree. And then, but I was doing a lot of summer stock. So pretty much, and I loved both. I would finish the teaching year, and usually that day I would head out to do summer stock.
Oh, awesome. Now, where did you, what area did you do summer stock? Did you go to Chicago? Where did you do it?
I did a lot in Michigan, Whitehall, Michigan. There was a Howmet Playhouse at the time that I worked at for several seasons. And then the Red Barn Summer Theater in Indiana, I worked at for 7 seasons.
Wow. So a lot of that under your belt and that, and I can tell when you start talking about acting and theater and the music and that, your face lights up and that you're very, very passionate about what you do.
Yes.
So when you were a child and you were starting out in elementary, did your family have music all around them? What made you go into the interest of performing and being in that industry?
You know, we didn't. My grandma played piano, and I was very drawn to the piano at a young age, partly because I was so shy and I could just dive into the music. And my mom taught me until 3rd grade, and then I needed a teacher, and I had a teacher then from then on. And then I wanted to go into music as my profession. But for the stage, it was a safe place to express until I learned as an adult, yes, you can express as your uniqueness. But at that time, it was my expression.
And one of the things I want to bring up to the audience when you're talking about with expression on stage, even though you're a shy person, one of the things, because I've worked with children with theater, and one of the things that we express to them is you're that character on stage because you don't have to be yourself, that shy person. You can become that character, and it gives them the expression to be able to be whoever they want on stage. So it kind of gives you that independence to be able to do that. And you find, I have found that some of the shyer or the people that don't fit right in different places excel on stage.
Yes, no question.
Yeah. So, how was your family when you decided to go off to college and get that music degree? Because a lot of times they're not that supportive because they want you to earn a living.
Right, right. And actually, because of that, I'm very grateful because I knew I was going to go into music, but I, at the time, was going to go into performance. But because my mom was like, you need something to fall back on, which I am grateful for because actually I am a born teacher. And so once I went into education, although I did continue to perform, my true passion is really teaching.
Okay. And that's what you're doing today with your
Yes.
company. And sometimes the universe, and I know that you're very spiritual from what I'm reading and that the universe plays a part of where you go, and you just got to listen to your inner voice of
Yes.
what it's trying to tell you. And then when you said, oh, I had this, compassion, that I was told to come here.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't understand that, but I think I'm an ancient alien girl here. I get to tell you right now. And I believe in like the Acacia record and that we have a lot of things that go on in the universe that and I apologize to anybody out there that thinks I'm crazy, but that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, Dee Dee.
We do love
Yeah. But when you're looking at that, and that's why I wanted to bring up different things that you do in your teaching, because what I really found fascinating was your singing crystal bowls.
Mm.
And one of the things, if you go back into history, and if you go into even the Asian uh, or sound that rhythm, even for Lebanon, they often wonder how did these ancient people get these megaton things, in place and perfect in that, and they think it was through sound. And when you go to the uh, uh, Eastern Hindu cultures and the different cultures like that, they use a lot of sound up in Tibet, and the monks are always using the sound. And there is something that actually resonates with all of us in that sound spectrum. Am I correct on that?
Oh, yes, yes. It's so primordial. I mean, and I feel, I'll just give you a little view of the bowls here.
Oh, wow.
To me, I can
Yeah.
do one if you want, but um, yeah, those all came from those. I didn't bring very much from Maui. My music, sheet music, my bowls, and my bowls. And so these bowls, and then I got two new ones after I got here too, because during COVID, everyone's nervous system was so triggered that I ended up doing my business really was a lot of that as well. So of course singing and the piano, but also the singing bowls was really restorative and helpful to relieve stress at that time.
Well, I'm going to, while we're sitting here, because I'm able to do this, I'll be muting us, but I am able to bring up your video on
Oh, okay.
singing bowls. So we will be able to listen to this, and I will do this as we get going.
Aloha, I'm Jennifer Loftus, and I guide sound healing ceremonies on Maui.
as I take that off, because people have such a short attention span. So I figured that I would just show a little bit of
Oh,
what you do there, and for people to realize that that's what um, the crystal singing bowls are, and that you teach that, but you also, it looks like will perform or do classes too, correct?
I don't actually teach how to do the singing bowls, but the sessions are for, yeah, I do group events and private sessions and dual sessions. So it's a meditation through the sound.
Okay, is that kind of like and I'm going to address Dee Dee on this. Gil does the tuning fork therapy, and it's kind of, where you do the crystal, but it's with the sound and stuff, because she uses a tuning fork and does it around the body. We have a friend that does it. It kind of, even though that one's not touching your body, it's resonating through your body, that sound wave that's going through. And how did you actually learn how to do this, and why did you choose that?
That's a great question. I actually played the singing bowls and learned how to do it in music therapy classes in the 80s.
And that's where I wanted you to go with it, that it was
Yeah.
just for therapy.
Yes, because of course I have, the musical background and I can hear the tones and I know what goes together, but more, I intuitively can tell. And of course my path has gone like this, like we all have. And when I landed in Maui, I knew that I was not going to be acting as much since there wasn't an equity theater. And I was really drawn to more healing work. And actually, at the time of moving, my husband and I moved. My husband at the time moved together with me, and 3 weeks later, he passed.
Oh my word.
So it was very traumatic passing, and it was also very sudden. He was hit by a rogue wave. And so I was involved with pulling him out of the ocean. And then I went, and then he passed 24 hours later. So we had given up everything in Chicago and come with 2 suitcases, which is basically what I do coming here. Like the grand piano and everything is new here. And the singing bowls at the time was about the only thing that could bring me relief from my grief.
Oh, wow.
So I would just be, and I had a practitioner that was playing for me. I would just be drawn to that over and over. And even my piano and singing and the dance that I do, I was helpful, but I just wanted the bowls, especially at the beginning. And so that's when I bought, after my own healing journey, I bought my own set. And that was another divine calling. I just went up to a store in Makawao, Maui, and said, I'm ready for bowls. And I didn't look at the cost. I just chose them. They chose me, and then I was doing it.
Wow. Now, where did you learn how to play them, or is it something that you just study, or could you look on YouTube and all?
Yes, there are some things on YouTube, but I studied it a little with the person that sold them to me, and then just on my own with feeling and
Yeah, and because you're musical and you can hear tone, where
yes.
some of us may be tone deaf, but
I'm tone deafness. I think that I can always be trained and attuned.
and that's one of the things that I saw on your website about singing, because and I probably need to read it, because I go, really, you think somebody that doesn't can carry a tune, that would be me.
But really, I have to just say, because I do feel so strongly about this. I wrote my master's thesis on it, actually, about that everyone can learn to match pitch. And that's true. Some take a little longer.
Like a lifetime. And the funny thing is I I sang in church choir. That means that when I was younger,
Yeah.
I was still in high school, where they took anybody.
And that's true. But the thing is, so many people that can't sing or I'm tone deaf, there's actually a story that they have. Oh, I, was in this class and, somebody told me to mouth the words, or my sister was the singer. And really, that's so in themselves that they don't even know it sometimes, or they do. And so that's part of where the healing work comes in to teach singing holistically. It's because then, okay, let's look at that. Now, where are we now? Is that truth for you? Okay. And then I have techniques to help them hear it in a tune too. But sometimes it is old stories.
Well, and when you're talking about the piano, I had a piano in my house here, and I can play right hand and I can play left hand. And I got rid of the piano now, but putting it together, I'm uncoordinated.
It's the hand of your head.
And that doesn't help work. I am so uncoordinated, and although I could play sports. Enough about me. I know it's about you.
See, you're giving me fodder to be able to talk about it because really, so many people come in with all those different things, and even adults that want to come back to the piano after they gave up as a kid. They didn't, they were forced to play, or maybe they didn't even get a chance to play. And it's so good for the brain and the coordination. I mean, I've started people in their 80s, and it helps their arthritis. And so I just feel like I do feel so impassioned about all the work I do that it is to make it accessible for everyone. It's not just for the elite few.
That's wonderful, actually.
Yeah, that really is. I'm still struck right now when back by the crystal bowls. I think it hit me really hard when you said you lost your husband because of a rogue wave, and a lot of people. Was he? Yeah, aboard. Did he do? What am I trying to say?
Surfing.
Perfect.
Surfing. Was he a surfer?
He was not. He was just in the water that day, and it was actually calm. And I had just been in the water with him. So it is one of those things that you just think, okay, why? But I did stay and see, then I was there for 10 years doing my work. And in fact, I will be going back to Maui in July to do master classes.
Oh, wow. Wow. So, well, thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah. Because I can tell it's still, well, you never get over anything like that. I don't know when people say, you never get over the grief. You just learn to deal with
I
it.
always think of moving through it and moving with it. And I don't often share actually publicly about that, but I felt drawn to today because I think that sometimes it helps to know that you can move through things. And so many people are going through a lot, and knowing that I have clawed my way back from major grief and trauma, and utilizing these things that I teach. Music moves the soul. And so that's why I share it, so that it can help others.
And that's why there's always the healing power of art. And that's one of the things, even at the Northport Art Center, they have the art of war. And it's one of the Iraqi veteran, Philip Moore, that started this art of war, and they started a scholarship for people that are veterans, for the healing power through art, that they're offering free classes to anybody that's a veteran, because art heals, and people can express themselves without being verbal. And even when you're dealing with children with trauma, that's one ways that psychiatrists and psychologists get through to the children, to know, because they can't express themselves verbally. But the emotions that come with everything, and everybody deals with things differently, but there's a common thread there too. And I love, truthfully, I really love the healing power of the bowls with the sound and that. I really do. Dee Dee, what are your thoughts on all of this?
The arts do wonders for everybody. It's everybody in their soul gets to resonate what's in their soul. It's their voice, voice of their soul, and that's what I believe. As far as children go, at Valerie's house, they use art extensively in their therapy because these children have lost their caregivers, and they do all kind of things. We're so impressed with how they connect with children and help children connect with their feelings through art and all the different activities that they do. Um, as far as the singing bowls, oh my gosh, they're so beautiful, Jennifer. Do they have different, like each sound? Do they each sound differently and invoke a different thing? Can you tell me about that? Because you have so many different ones.
Yes, they do. Each one is attuned to a chakra, which is an energy center in the body, as you may know. And actually all together, then they work with the whole body. But because these particular bowls are unique, they're called crystal tones. And there's actually crystals and minerals infused in them. So we see the white bowls, which are also very beautiful, but these have the minerals, the crystals, like there's monatomic gold and platinum and all kinds of crystals in them, lapis. So like lapis works with throat chakra. And
Okay.
so it comes into our system and just helps us to unlock and balance. So that's what's special about these particular bowls. But they work all together through the crystals and the minerals and the sound to come into your system.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes, how nice.
No, Jennifer, there's different groups in the area. Have you been in contact? There's one up in Venice called Blue Lotus, and they have a monk. They're actually the monks come down from the St. Pete area. I had them on my show. That's why they reached out to me to see if they could be on my other show. I have another show that I do, and it's about history. And they had lost their because of some storms that we just recently had. Their roof came in and stuff. They were raising money, but they wanted to come on the show and just talk about different things and about fundraising and different things. And when you're talking about that, that's one of the things too with the sound. You know, how that resonates with so many people in so many religions. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, that it's a healing process of the sound out there and how sound actually go, resonates with us and even in the universe, you know, because we have devices that'll go out there and we're trying to capture the sound if we're getting any sound coming from other planets, other places, what out in the universe. And that's why sound really comes through our bodies and that because we're part of that universal world.
Absolutely.
Energy.
Yeah,
Yeah, everything is energy.
yeah, that's what we are. Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah, I could go into my theory of all this, but I will turn off all the people.
Okay.
Like we're part of that, you know. We're all
Yeah,
energy, and this is just a thing. We just go away, but the energy's still there.
yes.
You know, part of the universe. That's my theory. That's the theory, and I'm sticking to that. I have a son that's a minister too, and we get into discussions sometimes about a different thing. Yeah, and people say, "How did you end up with a son for a minister?" I said, "Divine intervention." Let me tell you, yeah, you know. And I'm a recovered Catholic. I was you know, and I don't mean to go down the religious road here or the spiritual one, but I wanted to add some comedy.
Yes.
You know, we all have our story there. Jennifer, let's talk about with the piano. No, you were saying about lessons and third grade and how you went through that process. When you went to college, did you have to learn many different instruments at that time to play?
No, I actually did not. I mean, I chose voice as my major instrument and piano as my minor.
Okay.
I played the clarinet in high school, but really, I was really focusing on the voice and the piano.
Well, if you played the clarinet in high school, was that to be in the band because you couldn't carry the piano?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I wanted to do everything musical. I was in the choir. I was piano. I did, I actually created my own high school curriculum, and I went in and talked to this is how I am. I went and talked to the principal, and I just said, okay, this is what I'd like to do. Shakespeare, then I would like to take choir, band. I'd like to take a class called independent piano, because that's going to be my practice time, because I worked at a drugstore after school. And then I don't want to do gym, but I would like to do dance as my gym credit. And I think he was so shocked. Like, here's this small town in Michigan. And he just was like, okay. And that's what I did.
Nice.
Oh, you were able to do that. Is it, no, what kind of a high school that you went to? Was it performing arts?
No, it was a small town called Mason in Michigan. And I think, I mean, he just kind of realized that I was outside of the box, and that was somehow he realized it was going to serve me.
Well, and that's one of the things in school, and that's why we raised a grandchild, and she ended up going to New College, and New College allows the kids to actually do some of that independent things, and they can actually pick and choose sometimes, and they'll bring in they have in January independent study, but it counts for credit, and they will. One year she did gardening. They did gardening. They learned how to garden. And I go, I mean, that's a practical thing to learn how to do. But
Absolutely.
yeah, and to learn that you're able to get credit for doing it, like and going to college. And that brings me back to, I'm glad that you mentioned that your school was so active, truthfully, in their thinking, allowing you to do that. To and we should have more of that. I think it was so much pressure. Let me tell you, if you're trying to heal, I don't think I'm going to do a math problem or a science project.
Yes.
If I'm going to do any healing or for mental health or that, I don't know of how many, even of the smart people that I have around me, if they take out a book and start doing a math problem or start doing a science project, unless they're planning on blowing up something or something. Dee Dee's cracking up because I haven't been like this for a long time now.
You were healing.
I am healing. I just went through. I had breast cancer.
Okay.
And my audience does know this. The people out there. My son asked me to be very open about it. If it would get one person to go to get their mammogram, it does the job. So I'm not being. I would have been private about it, but he had a talk. He had the talk of God with his mother, and said, "You're a public figure, Rome. You need to use your platform." And I'm actually going to have my regular doctor, my surgeon, my radiology oncologist, and I figured I better have the guy that actually determined that I needed the biopsy. He's a doctor too, on a show, and we're going to talk about breast cancer and how you go through the process, and then they're the experts, so I'll let them just talk about all the different things and the different processes. But they've all agreed to be on my radio show. So.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
into the light.
Right. Exactly. No, let's go back to you because I know this show isn't all about me.
This is in synchronicity, right?
Yeah, absolutely. How would people get a hold of you? And I can bring that information up on the screen for you too. If I wanted to start taking lessons with you or even hire you for services, how would I get a hold of you?
You can go to my website, musicmovesthesoul.com. And then there's quite a few places to contact Jennifer now.
Absolutely. And I'm going to bring that up on the screen here. Oh, you know what? We found that I have to mute that when I bring that up on the screen. There we go. Because we get back feed. Excuse me, in case you did get that. And if you did get that and you heard it, then that means you're listening. Thank you. Thank you for coming on and listening. But if you look here, this is Music Moves the Soul. Remember that music moves the soul.com. And right here, I'm in the contact where you can, and Jennifer uses aloha. And aloha means goodbye or hello, correct?
Yes.
Yes. And you can fill out the information and put that there. But let's go through your website so we can all take a look here. You have the welcome here, and then what you do. Do you hear music and have the impulse to sing, but shut yourself down because someone told you along the way that you're not a singer? Oh, that would possibly be myself. That I can, yeah. Do you have difficulty speaking your truth with ease? No, it's gotten me into trouble many times. Do you have the desire to play the piano but feel it's too late to start? No, but I don't know if I'm coordinated enough. Do you try to meditate but you had yourself in a hamster wheel of thoughts? I've been called a squirrel at times. Yes, I do. In fact, that's actually one of the things I'm gonna be focusing on. I'm thinking about starting yoga. Do you long to feel free moving in your body, but feel stuck or self-conscious? No, but nobody wants to see this bigger girl. Um, yeah, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm in that mood today. Okay. So, finding and freeing your voice, sing your song, speak your truth, trust your voice, and then there's more information there. And uh, you can just do the click on those, and then piano lessons, and then the singing crystal bowls, divine feminine dance, and special events and retreats. So, if you want to address some of those things, we can do that right now, Jennifer. I'm removing that. Okay, there we go. Okay. Look at that. You Dee Dee. That's from Dee Dee coming through. So Jennifer,
Yes.
what I saw that you have a few things coming up. Uh, could you tell us a little bit of if I wanted to go to something that you were doing, like the singing bowls? How would I do that?
If you did not want a private or dual session, then I do corporate events where I come into different groups and do like a lunchtime with Loftus. And that just came to me just right now, actually. I don't know if it'll be called that. But bringing in the singing bowls to something like that. But I am doing a sound bath tomorrow on Mother's Day at the Yoga Sanctuary in Punta Gorda. But that is sold out with a waiting list. But we will do another at some time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also doing Trust Your Voice workshop at Evergreen Holistic next Saturday from 2 to 4. And you can go on my website or theirs to register. And then for summer solstice, I'm doing Divine Feminine Dance event in at the Yoga Sanctuary again. So that info's on their website and mine.
Is the Yoga Sanctuary in Punta Gorda?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I know those ladies. I mean, I know her. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and that's a historic building.
I love the energy there. Yes.
Yeah, that it has a lot of energy. And at one time, I believe it was a mental hospital or thing way back in, because I think it's a 1920 building. and it's right now next door to the Punta Gorda Women's Club. So much history. I used to do historical trolley tours in Punta Gorda, so I know a lot
Okay.
of history there. When you're looking at all these different things, and it's quite interesting, how did you end up actually, because you've only been here a short period of time, making all those people friends and connections?
I actually, well, I got here in November. I bought my home in December and I started remodeling for 3 months. But during that period of time where I was waiting for handyman and da 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 da, I would just look to see who I might be in alignment with and just let them know I was here.
Wow.
Mhm. And
Wow.
I had some meetings with Jennifer at the yoga sanctuary.
Right. Yeah.
And I've been practicing yoga at both of those places. So yeah, I just wanted to, I mean, for me, I am doing a lot of online, but particularly for voice and piano. I don't do online for the bowls because it doesn't show up as well with the sound.
Right.
I want to work in person, so I knew I wanted to work as soon as I was done with remodeling my studio.
Okay. And when you do lessons, do they come to your home there?
Yes, and it's a separate area here in the front. That is the studio.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then see where that light is back there is
Yes.
the healing crystal ballroom. So I have set up with Japanese mats for people to lay on.
Okay. And you live in Northport.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you bought your house at the type of when prices are jacked up. I guess so much.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so much. I mean, comparatively, probably to Hawaii, not as
Yes.
expensive. But it's still, they're high comparatively to what they were before. No, Jennifer, if how would somebody, because a lot of times people don't know how to ask the right question.
Yeah.
What is the most frequent question that you're asked, or where people don't know how to ask? And that's kind of a weird question to ask, but I kind of think you run across that people don't know exactly what they want. I mean,
Yes.
they do, but they don't know how to express it.
That's true. And sometimes I might have someone in for a session for the bowls, and then we might realize they do really want to sing. Something comes up for them about, oh, I always wanted to sing. And that's a lot of how it all is kind of, somebody might take divine feminine dance and then I'll be drawn to the piano. So it kind of comes up as the first session. I mean, some people know they're coming in for piano and that's it. Some people come in for piano and then they realize they want to do some voice too. Some people come in for voice and then realize they want to come back to the piano, and we split the time. Does that answer your question? Because I wasn't really.
No. That does, because, and that's where I think my brain was going with that, because a lot of times you don't know what you want,
Yeah.
but you may deep down really know that that's really what you want, but you don't have it consciously out there.
Yeah.
And so when you do, like you were saying, somebody may have come in for the bowls, or doing that, and in all reality, they wanted to go to that piano, or they wanted to sing. And that's where their real heart was, but they didn't know how to, they didn't have it surface, because it might have been too hard for them to actually realize that that's what they really wanted.
Yeah.
Maybe embarrassing because they've been um, kept it down.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think most of us would like to sing, right, Dee Dee? Oh, I think I have her muted because
Oh, thank you for letting me out, Marie. Yes, Marie, that's my one passion. I would love if I could have sung. I always listen to beautiful music and I try to sing along, and I'm embarrassed myself. So no, I would have loved to have had that talent, quite honest.
Well, one of the things too is I have problems remembering words and lyrics, and I know that that's one of the things that you need to do is to not get up on stage, or even if you're singing a song, that you forget the words. And how many people really know the words to Star Spangled Banner? Because I've seen people try to mouth it, kind of like, or even the Pledge of Allegiance, when you see people repeating things like that, and you go, do they really know the words? Are they really, and I'm not saying the professional singers, it's the person next to you, that might be singing. So,
Well, part of that is that and I don't want to say lost it, because I really firmly am trying to bring it back to community, is that years ago, everyone learned the Star Spangled Banner, and everyone, even when I was teaching, all through my career, I've had salons and not recitals, because it's about them having the food. And so it was more a part of our social community than it is now. And I think we can get back to that.
I think so too. And we always used to start out with the Pledge of Allegiance before school, and I don't know what they do now. I don't think that they do at all. And that showed respect too. It was a respectful thing in community. Jennifer, I know it seems like we just started, but we're already at the end of the show.
Okay.
And it's been a joy having you on, and I think that we should probably set you up that you come on again. And when I'm feeling up to par and stuff, Dee Dee, maybe we could do something that we could do an art class that has a singing crystal bowls with it, that we start out, or go into something like that, because to be creative, and that there's different parts, or having a day even at the art center it's a art of healing day, and that we have the crystal bowls, we have the art of war, we have different things that we bring the community together to heal.
I love that.
Yeah, I absolutely. And with you being in Northport, it's such a Ukrainian community. There's so many people there from Ukraine, and there's a lot of other things. All of us, they had a suicide just recently with the Northport Police Department, and Holly's Hopes there, and there's a lot of healing that's going on. And the new city manager has put together. They're looking out for the employees too, trying to make sure that they heal. And I think healing through art, no matter how you see art, maybe there's something that Northport can do where we take one day and heal through art.
Beautiful.
Very nice.
Thank you so much. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Marie LaBrosse, WKDW 97.5 FM Rural Community Radio. We're coming out of Northport, Florida, from the Bishop West Real Estate Tower, and with my co-host,
Dee Dee Gozion from the Northport Art Center.
And our guest today was Jennifer Loftus, and she has musicmovesthesoul.com. And if you want to learn more about Jennifer, go to her website. Also, you can review this show again, and we bring up her website again. Thank you. There are choices in life that a lot of us can do, to be kind or not to be kind. Dee Dee, what should we do?
We should always choose kindness. Thank you.
And for the privilege of you taking the time out of your busy life to listen to us. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Have a great Mother's Day, or if you had a Mother's Day, have a great Mother's Day, or that you had one. Thank you all. See you again next week on Kaleidoscope of